Curious onlooker. Over the course of your career in the Sea Org, how much of your typical week or month involved indoctrination activities as opposed to working on projects? In other words, how frequent were group meetings, video screenings, or other activities designed to solidify your loyalty to the cause, the group identity, LRH, or Miscavige? Was the volume of indoctrination fairly constant over the years, or were there periods of greater intensity? All right, let me just randomly throw some things out here as they occur to me, and I'll kind of go through my schedule as a Sea Org member. There are daily musters in the morning, in other words, gatherings of all the Sea Org members where roll call is taken, and so attendance is noted, and people are chased up if they're not there because, let's say, some guy doesn't show up in the morning because he slept in, and they have to go roust him and get him up, and that kind of thing. That happens. So there's musters, there's these formations in the morning, afternoon, after lunch, and after dinner, and then often at the end of the night as well. So there could be 3 to 4 musters every day. At those musters will be announcements and briefings given to keep the troops up to date on what's going on, give them quotas or targets for income or fundraising, and or orders on what new emergency has come down the line that needs to be handled or dealt with. So that occurs every single day, many times a day. Every week there was, in Los Angeles at the Pacifica base, there was a base briefing. All crew had to attend that, and that was a briefing from the senior executives, the captains of the organizations there, and there was a lot of rah-rah and pep talk and stat showing and that sort of thing, or severe reality adjustments, a lot of, some yelling and screaming going on. But for the most part, they tried to not do a lot of yelling and screaming at those group activities unless something really bad had gone down. They tried to keep those things a little bit more chipper and a little bit more, motivating and morale boosting. Then there are the yearly events that occur. And I think there was the New Year's event. There was the March 13th event, which is L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. There's the May 9th event, celebration of Dianetics. There's the maiden voyage events in the summer for the celebration of the Free Winds and its maiden voyage. There was a IAS event in October. There used to be an Auditor's Day event in September, but that kind of faded away. Then there's a New Year's event on New Year's. So that's the cycle of yearly events that occur where they have these gatherings where Chairman of the Board Miscavige goes on stage and briefs for hours on end, and sometimes other people will go on stage too. But mostly it's Miscavige's show, and that's where he gives the latest and greatest on, what's going down in the world of Scientology. And, I've come to find out that almost everything that the guy stands there and spews are lies. And that was pretty shocking to realize that, but that's the case, trumped up, exaggerated statistics that don't mean anything, stories that of events that never happened or are way blown out of proportion as to their importance, things like that. So those kind of events go on, and there's all kinds of standing and sitting and standing and applauding, and it's a very controlled activity, and it keeps the indoctrination solid. And there's a number of them throughout the year. Now, then as far as that, those are the regular things. Now, as far as meetings and whatnot, when I was in management, man, if there is one thing they love to do in the Sea Org, it is have meetings. We had meetings every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. It is fractionally amazing that they get anything done, because there's so much administrative nonsense and bureaucratic just rigmarole that goes on, just hamster wheel kind of activity, that a lot of time is wasted that could be being used for actual production, but they just want to have meetings and yell and scream at people and tell them they haven't gotten enough done. And you wonder why Sea Org members are kept up for all hours, and why there's this pattern of abuse that goes on. It's because they're not allowed to do their jobs. I mean, it gets pretty frustrating after a while. So that kind of thing goes on. And as far as a concentrated period of time, I will say, well, I was on the RPF. And I was on the RPF for 3 years and 3 months. And that was full-time indoctrination. The RPF is nothing but a cult re-education camp, and I was on that for quite some time until I graduated from it. I actually met the requirements of it, and I finished it. And for whatever good reason, I was not fully re-indoctrinated as a cult member after the end of that. That's a subject for another time, but that didn't really have the intended effect on me. And, so here I am.